welcome to NestGen Xpress, live from the Commercial UAV Expo. We are at booth 423. We're at FlytBase, and this is going to be a lot of fun because I know everyone's just getting ready to drink now. I understand we're all ready, but I have one amazing final interview for today. This is going to be a great episode. I am here with Grant Giat, VP of Regulatory Affairs at DroneUp. I don't know if you heard of that company, but they're pretty big. And we just have some really fun questions today. We're just gonna have some fun, just have a little chat with Grant today, and let's just talk. So let's just dive right in. So this is about taking flight legally. So what is the funniest loophole that you've ever found in drone regulations?
It's actually credit I had to give to CEO Tom Walker. So prior to me going full-time in DroneUp, I worked with several drone delivery companies in the industry, and it's funny because everyone always fixated on Part 135 and there literally was some unspoken rule that you cannot operate drone deliveries under Part 107. And people just adhered to it, abided by it, for years. But I'll never forget, is the one who said, there's literally nothing in Part 107 that says we cannot do package delivery. And I went, you're right, there's not. You can't apply for a BLOS waiver for package delivery, but there's nothing that says you can't do. So loophole, I don't know, but I have to give credit for Tom for that one, because that obviously it was his idea and look where it got us. So 34 locations nationwide with Walmart. So
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's important. Like to know the regulations so that you can actually do something. You can create an entire business based off of that understanding. So based on sort of that concept, what do you think is sort of the most important regulation that drone operators and companies here should be aware of in the U.S.?
Well, in the U.S. especially, BLOS, beyond visual line of sight of the remote pilot command, is the absolute most important regulation, is the number one regulation that is slowing down scalability for drone operators in America. In other countries, they have what's called standard scenarios where under this circumstance, of course, you can go beyond a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, whatever, because it's just standard, but we don't have that yet in the U.S. So not being able to fly beyond the visual line of sight of the pilot without a waiver is a big problem. It's a big one for us, and it's one that the FAA and Congress are working on right now.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll see some relief in that area very soon.
Okay, so on the sort of same beat, what are sort of like the common misconceptions about drone regulations that you'd maybe like to help clarify for the audience?
Well, the biggest one, of course, is when I already mentioned that you can fly drone deliveries under Part 107. You can. It's also, now it's legal to fly drones at night, provided you have the right lights on it.
Yep.
There was this big rush when the Ops Over People rule came out, but what we have learned over the past 2 years is that being able to declare a method of compliance that is sufficient for the FAA is just as challenging as fighting to have the right to fly over people. So one thing that I would say is a misconception, people automatically think you can fly over people. Now you cannot.
Right.
You absolutely cannot. And next to BLOS, I would say being able to fly over people and moving vehicles is the next most important regulation.
Okay. I think that's really crucial because I think a lot of people definitely do think that, and they absolutely cannot. So we already touched on this just a little bit, and this is our final question, but you talked about other countries and sort of the way they do it with scenario-based models. So how do our drone regulations here in the United States, how do they compare, and you could use a specific example, to those other countries?
So the United States, of course, is globally considered to be the birthplace of aviation. We run the risk of losing that with drones because other countries are surpassing us, and the FAA knows this, and Congress knows it as well. There's a price you pay for having the safest airspace in the world, and that's you often have the strictest regulatory environment. So other countries, especially I'm thinking Australia, places in Europe, even in South America, there are places where you can it is much easier to fly beyond visual line of sight. And how many news stories have you heard of drone crashes, BLOS?
Yeah, that would be zero.
There you have it. Walmart's now had over 10,000 deliveries, and through us and other participants in the industry, such as Zipline. And what I can say is, to my knowledge, 0 reportable incidents. So what exactly is the issue here? What are we protecting against? And, you don't want to be the first one to have the drone probably Scott is someone, but this is, it's my 6th year doing this, and I have not heard of one incident, like not a real incident, a reportable incident.
Sure.
So I think what is very, very important is for the United States to realize that, yes, it is important to protect that reputation of having the safest airspace in the world, but you also have to balance that against being one of the most innovative countries in the world. And that's a struggle that we have seen in the aviation industry, not just with drones, but with other places as well. So it's something that, at DroneUp, and I know other companies that do this as well, we are working closely with the FAA and Congress to really try and help find that balance, because it's going to be what propels America to eventually being the leader in this space.
And I really appreciate that mindset, because I don't think it's too late. I think it's still very, very early. And I think the lessons that are being learned in those other countries, luckily we have a collaborative culture in this industry that we are learning from them as well, since they're pushing the envelope and when we have to sort of pull back. But in a lot of ways, we are being very collaborative. So I think that's really important. This has been amazing. Man, so much fun. I love catching up with you, Grant.
Anytime, Jason. Anytime.
Absolutely.
I enjoy it.
This is fantastic. Well, this has been another great episode of NestGen Xpress. This is Jason, and bye.